Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. In our today's episode, we are not going to use a lot of different reactor parts, and we're not going to build huge things in the orbit. We are going to dress. Why we're going to dress? Because we've never been there in this series. And we still have a lot of science that we can get from there. So here's our ship getting into the orbit. And we're starting our maneuver planning for the dress. Because dress has inclination to curb in orbit, we won't be able to get direct encounter from the first go. We will have to go into interplanetary space and then correct our inclination. So let's time warp to our node and execute it. I'll cut out most of the burn, because it takes quite some time. And here we are, finishing our burn. Let's time warp out of the sphere of influence of Kerbin and into the great dark beyond. Alright, and now we have to fix our inclination. No better place to do it than at the ascending node. And exactly there we see that we can get an encounter with approximately 700 meters of delta V wasted. But that's not too much. So let's do that. Again, I'll cut most of the burn because it will take quite some time. And here we are. Our burn is complete, but for some reason we lost our encounter. So we have to create another maneuver node to find it again. Let's also do a little bit of fine-tuning while we are at it, to make sure that we get low enough periapsis and we can easily circularize around this body. Okay. And for some reason our encounter just loves to disappear for no apparent reason. So let's do this maneuver. And here is our encounter. Now we are going to time warp into the sphere of influence of dress, and because it will again take some time, I'm going to cut it out. Here we are, getting closer and closer to our target. What we need to do now is get into the polar orbit around this planet and start collecting the science from different biomes by using our gravioli detector. Also getting the material study, goo container, and all the jazz that we're usually doing when going to another planet. Let's take the EVA report, the gravioli scan, and so on and so forth. Here's our maneuver. Let's orient properly and time warp to it. After we start our maneuver, I'm going to cut this video and I'm going to return to you when we've done most of the orbital science and we are ready to land. So here we are, going for our approach to landing site. Let's start burning in our periapsis. And our deorbiting burn is complete. We are going down no matter what. So let's quickly go and land. I time warp into 10,000 meters, because there our time warp ends. And let's start killing our velocity, because one nuclear engine is going to do it pretty slowly, and we don't want to smash into the surface of the planet at ridiculous speed. Okay, we lowered our velocity good enough, so we can cut our engine and do a little bit of coasting down. Sometimes we are going to launch our engine for a couple of seconds to lower our velocity and make sure that we are not falling down at ridiculous speed again. And here we are, 500 meters away from the surface. 200. Well, it was 300, but now it is 200. 150. 100. 20. 10. Touchdown. A little bit of wobbling, but we are okay. So let's do all the science we can do on the surface. Things like EVA report, crew report, all the experiments, place the flag, take the sample, and so on and so forth. Let's call this flag dressed, and let's do everything else. Now, we are going to collect our science from all the experiments. And unfortunately, I've done a little mistake. I resetted one of the material studies. So let's see which information we got. And it appears that we don't have one from the high space above the dress. So we'll have to duplicate this experiment when we're going out. Thankfully, it's not hard. So let's do that. Wait until our transfer window for Kerbin and launch home. At first I was thinking why my ship is wobbling so much on the launch, but then I remembered that I forgot to turn on the SAS and everything went much more smoother. So let's raise our apoapsis, let's say to 60,000, something like that. Now let's time warp to it. And we're going to change the inclination of our orbit, just like that, to be more equatorial and less eccentric. Or is it called eccentric or ecliptic? I don't know. Alright, let's circularize and see if we can get home in one maneuver. Nope, apparently we cannot. However, we can change the inclination of our orbit to only 2 degrees in relation to the orbit of Kerbin, which is already good. So let's do that. Let's time warp to our maneuver and execute it. After that maneuver, we will have approximately 800 meters per second of delta V, and I think that should be enough to both change our inclination completely and return home. So let's see how it goes. Here is our maneuver, going smooth and nice as planned. And we're almost done. Let's finish it. Okay, now time warping out of sphere of influence of dress and into interplanetary space. And not to forget, we're doing our last experiment, the one we've reset before, and we're ready to depart. Let's punch it. So here we are, changing our inclination to match that of the Kerbin, and hopefully seeing if we can get the encounter, but it doesn't look likely. So let's finish the inclination change, and we've expanded our strap-on fuel, so let's ditch it, and now we are on the last stage. Let's see what is with our orbit. Okay, it looks like we got in almost perfect dissonance or resonance with Kerbin in relation with our orbits. For each of our orbits, Kerbin does 2 or 3 orbits, and we encountered at almost same place all the time, so we could just create a tiny maneuver at our apoapsis and get this encounter and capture by Kerbin. This brings us to perfect return corridor, where we get nice gravity assist from Kerbin, and we're only returning at 4 kilometers per second and not some ridiculous speed like 7 or 8 kilometers. So here we are burning in the atmosphere, bleeding off our speed, and we're already suborbital, so we are going down. Let's quickly time warp closer to the ground and see what happens there. As usual, we splash down in the ocean, and we're going to recover the capsule, see the signs. 3000, very good. And let's not forget our laboratory in the orbit of Moho. 2.3k science, and strangely enough, it still has fuel, so it will serve us for quite some time more. That means that we got 5000 science, and we need only another 5000 to get Alcubierre Drive and to complete the science tree. I think we should be able to do that within a couple of episodes. But for now, thank you all for watching. Remember to like, dislike and comment this video in the section below. My name is Darlock, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!